All right, and for the podcast listeners, our big bonus as well. He is back. He's got the branded PlayNow.com BC Lions hat as well. I've got myself one of those.
Yeah.
Got one in Kamloops. Yeah, got one. Yeah, got to wear it out. It was sunny out there at practice today. Got to remember to protect yourself. Sunscreen, headwear. It is Cam Tucker joining us from BCLC. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, fellas. You know what? I think maybe next year when we look at this, we add in a sunscreen sponsorship to this, given what happened earlier in the summer in Halifax with a little bit of the sunburn. But yeah, it's a beautiful day out there. September, boy, the calendar this season's going by really fast. It always seems to. And I'm looking forward to Friday. Friday night double header, my idea of paradise in the CFL. So it's going to be an exciting weekend, and we'll see if the BC Lions can't get a win here.
Yeah, Lions, Red Blacks, the second half, as you said, Winnipeg, Hamilton will start it off, but we're going to stick with the home team here. Lions are currently a 9.5 point favorite here, total set at 56 points. Lions have hit the over in six straight games, Cam.
Yeah, they're an over machine right now. And I will be honest, I was a little bit surprised to see that the Lions were flirting with being a double digit favorite going into this game. It's kind of been an up and down season throughout the course of the year. And, the Lions looking at the money line minus 410 right now on the money line as well. So to see the Lions were very close to double digits was certainly interesting. I look at the Ottawa Red Black situation. And Ottawa, ended up sliding the point spreads. Last week kept going towards the Lions, and then Ottawa was a big favorite. I think it closed at about 6.5, maybe 7. So you're looking at a converted touchdown there. The Lions were favored in Ottawa, and now you come back to BC. We'll see where this line goes throughout the course of the week. And I do believe that some of the quarterback situation in Ottawa with Drew Brown, is he going to be ruled out for this week, or are we going to, have another comeback, right? So it's one of those things that, looking at the quarterback situation, will that impact this line? We'll have to wait and see, but the big thing here is the over. I mean, 56 points. This is a big line. And the over right now is red hot for the BC Lions. And I was looking at the stats over the course of this run. The Lions and their opponents are averaging over 69 points scored per game. And when we look at the totals, I think the highest total was 57 points and the lowest total was 49 points over this 6-game stretch. And looking at we're not even close. We're not even close to breaking a sweat right now on the overs. It's just there's been so many points scored in this game. So there's been so many momentum swings throughout the course of the game, big plays out of nowhere that are really racking up these points. And so for the Lions, this is I guess right now this is the norm. And to be quite honest, looking at how they've trended over each week, do we really see a stopping point here for the over? 56 points is still very high, but the way right now that both teams in Lions games, this is high event football, and right now, both teams are putting up a lot of points. It seems when the BC Lions play, and that's led to profitability for those betting on the over the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, definitely a trend there, Cam. You alluded to it off the top, doubleheader on Friday. Talked about the Ottawa BC game, but what's up with the earlier game on Friday night in the CFL slate?
Yeah, and again, this is kind of interesting. Looking at the Lions, Winnipeg right now is a 7-point underdog against Hamilton to open up this week. And right now, Winnipeg's going through a really tough stretch. Zach Collaros was injured in the Banjo Bowl against the Rough Riders. And right now, I haven't seen any kind of definitive news on his status going into this week. Will he play or will he not? He's been injured 3 times now this season. And then these have been fairly significant injuries. And so you do worry about, or you do wonder about the quarterback situation right now in Winnipeg. And then looking further into this, the Blue Bombers right now are 6-6. They're at 500. I think it's 3-5 against the division. And right now, their Grey Cup odds keep sliding. I mean, we have them tied with Toronto for the fifth best Grey Cup odds at plus 1,400. You look at where we are in the season, early September, this is usually when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are starting to take over that West Division and starting to kind of run away with it. And this year they're sliding into the middle of the pack. And they look like a team right now that's played a lot of football over the last few years. And it seems like it's starting to catch up with them and some of their veteran players. And so this is kind of unusual territory for the Blue Bombers. So they face a tough task against Hamilton, who's, got the third best odds right now on PlayNow.com to win the Grey Cup at plus 300. And so it is going to be a difficult matchup for Winnipeg going in. And we'll see if they can cover the spread or if they can pull off an upset win. But it is a tall task right now. And for the Lions going into the second half of that doubleheader, not that your scoreboard watching and how you play the game is dictated on the results from out of town. But if Hamilton gets a win and you put Winnipeg at 6-7, the Lions, I mean, there's got to be some urgency regardless of the results from out of town. There's got to be some urgency here to put together a win at home and kind of start to build some momentum going down the stretch drive in hopefully into the playoffs. Because right now that West Division playoff race, as well as the crossover, is starting to tighten up. So you're definitely, I think, keeping an eye on the scoreboard out of town. And right now, Winnipeg is, a 7-point underdog. I mean, this is potentially a big opportunity here for Winnipeg if they get a loss, if they lose this game and the Lions get the win, to start to close that gap and make that West Division playoff race really, really exciting.
Yeah, definitely some big ones on Friday in the CFL schedule. But back to the Lions in Vancouver on Friday night. The bet boost that you got cooking up. We were talking about offense. What are you leaning toward there so far?
Yeah, right now, looking at some of the trends, Nathan Rourke, we're going back to the well on his passing yards. And I was looking at weeks 5 through 14. He has consistently hit 300 plus passing yards per game. I think he's only missed that mark twice between weeks 5 and week 14. So that's pretty significant. I think that we're probably going to look in that 300 plus pass yard range, and then looking at Justin McInnis and maybe some receiving milestones for him. Justin McInnis right now is certainly, we've seen the production go up. He had 148 yards against Ottawa last week. He's had 2 games now over the last 4 weeks in which he's hit over 140 yards receiving. So, this is the Justin McInnis numbers that we've seen previously. Now they're starting to happen later into the season. And the thing that is, I think, really exciting, if you're looking at this from a betting perspective, is the target number. So he's hit 9 or more targets in 3 out of his last 4 games. So he's starting to see that volume. You're starting to see the production go up. So I think it's time to put in a Justin McInnis receiving milestone into this bet. And right now, like I said, 56 points, the total, we're going to include the over 56 here. And the reason for it is I just don't really see how that streak comes to an end in this game. There's really been no indicator that we're in for kind of a lower scoring game. And so I think that right now, continue to look at the over for this parlay. Going back to Justin McInnis, guys, revisiting the futures here, but his preseason total was 1,200.5 receiving yards. He's now 386 yards short of that number. And it was earlier in the season, I didn't know if he was going to quite get to that mark. It was the highest receiving total that we had for the season. And Justin McInnis has really hit his stride recently. And now, we're closing in on, he definitely could hit the over 1,200.5 receiving yards. And looking at the schedule, he would need to average about 64 yards receiving per game for that over to hit. So it's suddenly creeping back up there.
All right, well said. All kinds of possibilities at stake, and we're hoping for a big bounce back. And yeah, it's a log jam, still very much in our hands. So we shall see. Thank you, Cam.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you
Thanks,
Friday.
Cam.
Between the Lines with Cam Tucker. Back next week on First and No.